This episode is brought to you by Muntins Malts, a company that is passionate about providing premium malts to brewers worldwide. For over a century, Muntins has been a leading supplier of brewing and distilling malts, offering the finest British malted barley on the market. You can experience the difference Muntins offers by joining a recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club, because every kit that ships out now includes premium Muntins malt. You know, we've known the Muntins crew for a long time, and I can tell you, friend, you're going to love brewing with their grains. Ask your local supply shop to carry Muntins malts, or homebrewers can join our Trub Club at homebrewhappyhour.com/club, be a part of the community, and come brew with us. Thank you, Muntins, for supporting our efforts and homebrewers worldwide. Today's show is brought to you by Hopsdirect.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Pewterball family farm, Hopsdirect.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsdirect.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsdirect.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsdirect.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Advice for Keg Newbies, when to replace Keg Gaskets, and continuously getting metallic tastes from my kegs. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 413.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout.
Hey, what I meant to do here was this. Hey! Oh my goodness, friends. Welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. I still don't have my iPad. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I left it up at the office, but so everything's messed up. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. And if you, my friends, have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com. You could email Joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com, or you can call it in to 325-305-6107. And when I use your voicemail on a future episode, you will get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. I am your host, Joshua Stubing, and today I'm joined by one of my favorite people on the planet. Not even kidding. I have to do a hard stop because I'm using my laptop. I don't have the fade out. But you don't need that music in your ear. I know it's obnoxious. It's probably bothering the dog. Lorena Evans, my friend, you really are one of my absolute favorite people, even though at the beginning when we were just chit-chatting, I did kind of make it seem like I was desperate and you were just a filler. I apologize for that.
You didn't make it feel that way. You pretty much said that.
Yeah, I did. And then after the fact, I was like, that was rude. No, I'm not desperate. I was desperate in my message to you. Todd and James, let me catch people up real quick. They are swamped. There's a lot of stuff going on. In the new year, we'll have some announcements on things, Homebrew Happy Hour related, Keg Connection related, CM, all this stuff. But all you need to know now is they're too busy for me. And so I immediately, you are, if it makes you feel better, you're the first person I thought of whenever I was like, I don't want to just do an interview, even though I did say we could do that. But I was like, I have questions for this week. I've already reached out to these people. They're going to get their gift cards. Actually, they've already gotten them. I preemptively pay people. I premature too much. We'll leave it at that. And then,
I didn't say a word.
Yeah. This is on YouTube, lady. Everyone saw your face. But so I was like, I have to have who can help me. And you always are the first person that comes to mind when I have questions. I don't bombard you as much in messages because I know it can be annoying, but I do want to let you know I know it can. I know me. My wife tells me, my children are old enough to tell me this, Lorena. They're like, Dad, come on. That's, like my teenager, what does she say? Dad, that's cringe. Like almost anything I do. Dad, that's cringe. Dad, that's cringe. You know what's cringe? You getting kicked out of my house. That's what's cringe. How are you doing, my friend? How's Florida?
Florida does not suck.
Yeah.
It is a little warm today, a little buggy, but it's so much better than with the 4-letter word snow. And I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know obviously if people don't know, your handle forever has been Youper Brew, like on Homebrew Talk and Brewer's Friend, and you're from the Upper Peninsula. I didn't know until maybe a year ago, because I had another buddy who's from there. I did not realize how hardcore the Upper Peninsula is in the winter. No wonder you're in Florida. It is hardcore up there.
Yeah, and until I played hockey till I was 50, and then once I stopped playing hockey, my winters got even longer because usually, like 10 months just isn't long enough for winter usually, and it was even longer after I quit playing hockey. So yes, so I still love the UP of Michigan in the summer. My family's in Wisconsin. I love it. I like Florida lots too.
Absolutely. And I'd also be remiss. You did not renew your Disney pass, did you? We can't talk Disney World. You didn't renew. Oh,
no, I did not this year. I did not this year.
I don't
First
blame
time
you.
in a long time. I'm really busy. I got a lot going on. And I do still have my Universal pass, and I'm letting that go. And I'm going to take a break from theme parks. Maybe like do real life for a little while.
That sounds terrible. Oh my God. That's not my 2025 resolutions. I was going to switch. I was like, I'm done being an adult. This isn't the Disney happy hour. I just wanted to say though real quick, my wife and I, they've raised prices so much. A family of 5, I got the 3 kids. They're all, you have to pay for them. None of them are the free anymore, which I think free at Disney now is like if they're 3 months or younger. Like just like base or they're a week.
Still in the womb.
Yeah. No, you're pregnant? That's twice. Yeah, paying twice. They raise the prices so much and then they offer a lot less. And they just nickel and dime you everywhere. Right. Like it was going to be $10,000 to stay at a budget resort after everything, flying there and not flying good either. Flying there, eating.
Southwest.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Fly like with my own arms. It was going to be like almost $10,000 to just stay at a budget resort for a 7-day vacation.
It is unaffordable. That's one of the reasons, although there's some new things I want to do there. But yeah, unfortunately, it's pricing a lot of people out.
It's so expensive, but
enough Disney World.
Enough
and
Disney.
Universal for
How about your personal brewing? I know you kind of scaled back. You're not doing it on the bid system. Did you get that sold?
Part of it. I still have the control panel. Yeah, a half barrel doesn't seem that big because it started off with me with a bucket, just like everyone else, a lot of times. And then I got a huge system because it's just as easy to make 10 or 12 gallons of beer as 5. The problem is it's heavy, it's cumbersome. And so I've been brewing on the Brewzilla and I'm liking it. There's some limitations that I really wasn't aware of. I really love doing full volume mashes, and the Brewzilla just isn't quite big enough for that. But other than that, I'm loving it. And I'm finding that, I really don't have to drink 5 gallons of beer a week. I'm just saying, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's not a gun to my head. I don't have to drink 5 gallons of, I will say though, all-in-one brewing. I mean, we, at Keg Connection, we don't sell the Brautag anymore. And so I'm not dogging it. I just feel more comfortable saying, all-in-one brewing is for me where it's at. It is, it's enjoyable. My pop and I use a G40, which is Grainfather, and it has the bells and whistles. It holds our hand of like, do you know how many times when we do cooler brewing, we'd forget things because we didn't set a timer or we don't pay attention. Because I don't know if you know this about me, Lorena, I talk too much. And so
You're kidding?
I know. Isn't that crazy? I talk too much. And so the drain father, though, is like beep, beep, beep. And on the heads up display, add your hops, idiot. I'm like, wait, how does it know me? But it has been good. I have been enjoying that. And I've learned from the people who are members at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, and they get recipes from us, that a lot of them are also using electric all-in-ones for saving space, for convenience of the technology. I know our hobby overall seems to be dwindling. I was going to say dying, but I don't know. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but it's dwindling. Yes. Not a lot of people brewing. And so if you can make it easier on the end user, I suspect that's more well received as opposed to like, hey, let's build your entire garage into this brewery setup. It's 3 vessels. It's this. It's like, yeah, you have more control, but you're taking up space and da. Either way, I do, like I said, I appreciate it. You did agree to come help me do questions. I'm not going to be presumptuous and assume you watch the show, but I have a little bit of small talk to get through, some housekeeping, and then we'll get into the feedback and questions. So bear with me, Lorena.
You bet.
And bear with me, friends at home. This will be quick, I promise, or as quick as I can be. Members at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour in the recipe receiving tiers are getting, boom, the English mild. That is going out to y'all at the end of the month, like these recipe kits do. It is a delicious table beer, as it says on the artwork there. I think it finishes at like 3.7%. So it is truly a session table beer. I say session. What is the stipulation for session? Is it 3? Is it 4 and under? 3.5 and under? I don't even know.
Well, it started with being able to sit down and have a drinking session.
Yes.
And you really can't do that with 8.5% IPA. Well, you probably could. If you want to stay married, I don't recommend that. So I don't know that there's like an official cutoff. I know mild, the BJCP guidelines have a certain amount, but I would be curious what other people think a session beer is. When do you sit down and have a beer drinking session?
Well, if I know our audience, it's every meal of every day.
Good boys, good girls.
We changed it's not Trub Club anymore, or even Trub Club. It's Functioning Alcoholics Not Anonymous, whatever the opposite of anonymous is.
Well, at least we have some self-awareness.
Absolutely. So friends, again, patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. Thank you to our sponsors who provide these premium ingredients: Muntins Malt, Hops Direct, and of course, Imperial Yeast. I promise you guys, if y'all go looking online for recipe kits that have premium ingredients and liquid yeast, you cannot beat the price that we are offering at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. That also means Brew Day Live is coming up. My pop and I are going to be brewing this delicious table beer on December 27th. That's the last Friday of the month at 10 a.m. Central, live over there at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour. A lot of y'all are off of work. I know you are. Come hang out with us at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, or watch it after the fact like most people do. Can you believe that, Lorena? We do a Brew Day Live every month, my dad and I. This year, we committed to doing it every month, and we will get upwards, maybe 50 people watching it live, and then we publish it. It's a 3-hour or 2-hour and some change thing, because we don't do the whole Brew Day. We usually start when the mash is wrapping up, and we usually end it when we're starting to chill. Like, because, a brew day can be like watching paint dry. I understand. We would get, though, way more people watching it after the fact. We will publish it. And I'm thinking maybe people scrub to see like a certain part of the process, or how we do certain parts of that style of that brew day. Like, oh, they did we'll mash out, sometimes step mashing. Things like that are probably the more interesting part, as opposed to hearing my dad and I argue about stuff. But some people might like that part of it. I have no idea. I'm not, that's not part of the YouTube analytic insights, but
I see.
Anyways, we are doing that, guys, on Friday, December 27th, and it's live at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour. And I do believe that is all I have. I'm usually dragging out the small talk, Lorena, till like 22 minutes into the show, and we're barely even like 13 into it. So I'm going to give myself
progress.
Yeah, I left my iPad again at Todd's office, which this iPad controls all the sound bites, the MP3s, everything. I'm having to load it off my laptop. And as people who are listening or watching heard at the top of the show, I'm not very good at that. Apparently, I can't use my left hand on my. I need just the iPad with the big buttons. My computer. I think I need readers. Actually, I'm not even 40 yet, and I'm having a hard time. I had to blow it up. And either way, what we do before we get to the questions is we take some feedback, and I have a nice little bumper for you.
It's time for listener feedback.
I thought it was worth my time to make that bumper.
Josh,
oh, no.
James,
Hold on. No, I forgot.
Michigan.
See, and it automatically plays, too. Our listener feedback for this week is our buddy Zach from Michigan.
Hey, Todd, Josh, James. This is Zach from Michigan. Wanted to give a little bit of feedback on the recent episode talking about flavoring seltzer water. Something that I've tried out is my wife had ordered these packets for tea. I believe the brand is True Lime, and what it is crystallized lime powder. We also had lemon and orange as well. And I had the idea to try that out one day. It took about half a packet to flavor 16 ounces of seltzer water. And it worked pretty well. It tastes pretty decent. Now, I'm a big fan of fresh lime. I like to make my own margaritas with fresh squeezed lime. It just makes a big difference. So I'm all for using a fresh lime to flavor the seltzer. But the powdered stuff is nice to store. You get a big box of probably 50 packets or so for fairly cheap. The other feedback I have is more so of a warning for especially you guys having your seltzer water by the pool. With the limes, if you're using fresh limes by the pool on a hot day, I had a buddy of mine had dropped a lime onto his leg while he was down south on a beach, and he ended up getting third-degree burns where the lime had landed. So if you ever get lime juice contact on your skin, make sure to wipe it off well. Otherwise, you could end up in the ER. Just a little warning for you guys.
No, I shouldn't laugh. Sorry, that's not a laughing matter. That's a new fear of mine now. I didn't realize. I mean, it made sense. Acidic, the lime and stuff. Has that happened to you before? Have you ever had any burns with limes?
No, I've been burnt a lot of ways, especially in brewing, but never with lime. Although, when Zach was talking about those brands, I thought I discovered that little trick with the lime and the lemon. I buy it, and we love it in our seltzer. So I have not tried the orange, and I've also not tried putting it on my leg and sitting in the sun. So I have some new things, but it does make sense, citric acid. And when I was a little girl, I used to be blonde before I was gray. We'd put lemon in our hair, lemon juice out of a lemon, and sit outside, and we'd all have white hair.
Yeah.
So sure, if it can do that to your hair, imagine what it could do to your skin, I suppose.
When I had hair, but now I would just get the third-degree burn. Oh my
gosh.
You try the new flavors. I'll try the third-degree burn. We'll report back on a future episode.
That sounds fair. Sounds fair.
I do want to ask you, so lately when people have been talking to us about like their kombucha or seltzer, I've been giving the advice from my anecdotal experience that I like to do it flavoring per pour, because I can't satisfy everyone. Like some people don't like as much lime as I do, or they don't like that flavor, so they're not going to drink it. If we just have a base seltzer and then cut up or provide those flavorings, that to me is the win-win on a homebrew level, because you'd rather more people enjoying it however they want to enjoy it, as opposed to I'm just using lime in the keg and boom, you deal with it. Do you do it per pour as well when you do the seltzer?
Generally, seltzer, yes. Kombucha. We have a really fabulous garden. And so I'll do a blackberry kombucha with my berries, but I don't go sweet. I do lean towards the tart, but they can put sugar in it if they want. For kombucha, sometimes I'll do like a ginger lemon kombucha and not keep it plain. I just am not a big fan of plain kombucha. I like flavored kombucha, but with seltzer water, you can have seltzer water plain. You can have the lemon, the lime. I'm going to try the orange that Zach mentioned. We also have had those, are they Amaretti flavorings?
Oh, yeah.
The squirt bottle. Yeah. I've tried the grapefruit of that, which was very good. And there was a couple others. So yeah, I think just having the flavors available right at the kegerator, right there for other people, or even offering, it makes a bigger difference. You know, people have choices.
Yeah. Back when Homebrew Con was a thing, Amaretti was, sorry. That's cringe, Dad. Sorry. No, back
sorry.
I only brought it up, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I only brought it up because Amaretti, I've been to, I don't know, 10 or 7, 8, 9, however many Homebrew Cons. They always had flavorings in the swag bags. So
yes.
I've got a gazillion of them because I'd also take everyone else's that didn't want them. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. And yeah, so I didn't even think about, I could use that for the seltzer.
It's perfect. The one I did not like, and I don't remember the flavor, but it was wood something. Wood something. Wood just isn't a good flavor.
It just wasn't.
You know?
I'll write that when I go look at my my stash of Amaretti. I'll remember that.
Wood something. Joshua, do not use wood something. Don't use wood something.
Well, Zach, thank you so much for submitting that feedback. A reminder, guys, if and when you call 325-305-6107 and leave a voicemail feedback, and I use it on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com, or more preferably, if you do me a favor and leave a voicemail question, get that same amount of gift cards. So questions are much more likely to get on it. Zach, we're buddies, and I also like that the comment about the burning yourself. I think that's a good warning that I was like, I didn't even think about that. So he earned himself a $25 gift card. With that being said, we do have 3 questions you agreed to help me with. So we got 3 questions on the show. And our first question, it is a voicemail. It is our buddy Nate from Arizona.
All right, I'm going to try this a third time. Maybe it would be a better day to email it in. But anyway, here it goes. I'm going to try to condense it down a little bit. I'm a long-time bottler, but I want to transition to kegging. I have a kegerator and everything, guys. So this is a 2-part question, by the way. This is Nate from Arizona. The first part is trying to transition into kegging. I have one of my lids doesn't have a pressure relief valve, and I know nothing about kegging or don't have any friends or anything that keg. So I definitely want to get a good lid with a pressure relief valve. Be one less thing I have to worry about. But also, I was wondering, I'm looking online on your website. I'm going to put it in order soon. But for someone who's new to kegging, would it be a good idea to go ahead and purchase some lids with a floating dip tube? Or do you feel I would benefit from using the ones I have? They have a dip tube in them. I need to clean them out and everything. It's used kegerator stuff I got with a couple kegs. Just your thoughts about going straight to a floating dip tube, if that's okay for a first-time kegger looking into kegging. And the second part of the question is I found wild hops growing off a trail in the mountains of Arizona, which is really rare to find and really cool. Super excited. This is about 4 weeks ago, so late September, but the looks like the lupulins still have not oxidized. It's nice and yellow. They're super pungent, almost kind of funky and skunky. And my question is, how would you guys use those if you found some wild hops? So like a kid in a candy store is awesome. So I naturally had to pick a bunch, take them home, dry them out, and just trying to find the best way to use them. I'm not sure if you guys use it for first wort hopping or late addition hops. They seem really, really weird, so I don't know what they're really skunky, so I don't know what variety they are or anything like that. So anyway, want to get your thoughts on that and your opinion on how I should jump into kegging. Thanks, guys. I love the show. Thanks for taking my rambling message if you decide to do so.
I like it because Nate, he tried 2 voicemails. As you can tell, I didn't edit anything out. And so he's like, we're going to do it live. Like that, that one clip. 3rd time's a charm. I do have to preface this for you, my friend. I took a bunch of kegging questions because Todd was supposed to be on the show and he's not. So you are today's keg expert. You're not the chief keg washer, but you are our keg expert. Let's start with that part from Nate. We'll do his question kind of in order. My understanding, I've been in the industry a little bit. My understanding with Kegs, they all have PRVs. He's talking about specifically the pull tab for the lid, like so Pinlock Kegs. He didn't say if they were ball lock or Pinlock, I don't think.
Right.
But most of the time, the Coca-Cola Pinlock Kegs, they have just it is a pressure relief valve on the lid, but it's it's automatic, as a pressure relief valve should be. And we CM Becker and Keg Connection sell these plastic fittings that go over the gas disconnect of a Pinlock keg. So if you want to manually depressurize it with that, you could use a screwdriver, you could use something. It's just a nice little tool to have. But I want to clarify that I don't know of any kegs, especially any that are NSF rated and actually sold at a retailer, that don't have a PRV built into it. Like for the most part, they're very safe. If they're NSF approved, guys, especially make sure that the keg you're buying isn't for a while there, China was flooding the market like 2010, 2011, and with kegs that weren't certified. And there were some, if you go on the old Google machine, there were some explosions in some places, because kegs are pressurized vessels, can be terrifying. But I do want to say, I highly doubt that his lid did not have a pressure relief valve on it. That'd be very uncommon in my experience. But if it was just a lid with nothing on it, yeah, you need to get yourself a PRV on that keg, because you don't want to make a bomb. I don't think you want to make a bomb. I don't want to tell you what to do, guys. You're adults. I don't think we're in the business of bomb making. But you've never heard my rant, I don't think, or pardon me, my endorsement of the floating dip tube on the lid. So floating dip tubes have been my new favorite thing this year, Lorena, because it enables me to not do secondary, not to worry too much about the remaining sediments from my primary when I am kegging. I'm doing even pressurized fermentation, so I'm not cold crashing until it's in the keg. And instead of having to wait for all that sediment to cold crash and settle to the bottom, and you're still going to draw some with the traditional dip tube, I've been using a floating dip tube. But you'd say, Joshua, so you're pulling out the liquid dip tube and cutting it and putting this? No, I'm even more lazy than that, friend. I'm getting a lid that was made for quick carbonator, so it has a barb on it, sticking out into the keg part, the inside, and I'm fitting a floating dip tube all over it. And it is the best of all worlds for me, because I'm able to use that lid on any of my kegs that need it. And it is not bringing up any of that sediment until I've sought to dry that entire keg. I'll start with, are you a fan of floating dip tubes? And if you use them, why? And if you don't use them, why not?
Well, I have a grand total of one, and I haven't used it. I do have a coworker, a brewer's friend, that swears by them, uses them all the time. There's a couple of reasons why I really don't. One is one of my very favorite beer styles is IPA, and I hop the ever-loving crap out of them. And so there is going to be sediment. There are going to be some things in there. The floating dip tube, I did kind of try it, and it just didn't work as well for me, because it's still kind of picked up the stuff. And I find just keeping in the kegerator, keeping it cold. I don't cut my dip tubes. I don't use a floating dip tube a whole lot. It's just more careful racking and pour off the first half pint of stuff. But the one time I will use it, I have some different lids now, and I'm doing more fermentation right in the keg. Floating dip tube is perfect for that, because you can transfer under pressure into its clean keg. So that is where I would more use it. I don't really use them for serving a whole lot. I don't need to. My lagers don't need to, and my IPAs is just still a mess no matter what I do. So no, I really don't. I was thinking though too, if there's no PRV, is it possible that Nate is talking about Sankey kegs?
Oh, see, that's why I brought the expert on the show, because I'm thinking homebrewers only use corny kegs. No.
They don't though now. And I'm assuming corny kegs, as well, because he's talking about, but he purchased the kegerator. And, if you've got a Sankey keg but then you don't get different lids. So I'm assuming he's talking about corny. But if we're talking about Sankey kegs, that's a whole different ball game.
Can you condense the whole different ball game? Like, do Sankey kegs, as the PRV and the coupler when you're using a Sankey keg? I really don't know. I don't use commercial.
I really don't know. I mean, I know there's some safety features. They're used professionally.
Yeah.
So there are safety features there, and maybe it does release. But I never went down that rabbit hole with the Sankey cakes. So I do not know the answer to that. At this point, though, we'll answer Nate's questions as if they're corny kegs, because it does sound like with changing lids that must be it. But I did want to kind of clarify that. So
no, I appreciate that. But you're right. I am way too presumptuous and always assume I know. Oh, he is 100% talking about corny kegs. Why would you question that? But you're right. Home brewers, for better or for worse, I will see it on Facebook, not in the prestigious Trub Club Facebook group, because y'all are all outstanding citizens. But how many times, dude, have you seen people buy or borrow Sankey kegs and either trying to sell them or asking like, hey, I just picked this up from the liquor store, and instead of returning it, I was thinking about using it for this and that. First off, that's technically a crime. Not technically, it is literally a crime. If you're gonna be a criminal, don't publish it on Facebook. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna write an ebook, How to Be a Discreet Criminal by Joshua Studing.
He'll sell 1 million.
Yeah. And hopefully people get the irony. Wait a second. He's writing a book on discreet criminality. But let's assume that it's corny kegs, because Sankey kegs is probably not legal and you shouldn't be using them, homebrewer. No, corny kegs are just easier for me logistically to operate. They're very straightforward. They're not hard to understand. With Sankey kegs, cleaning it becomes a pain in the butt. The way, the function of the spear, all that. I'd rather not deal with it. But at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, leave it in the comments if you're like, Josh, you're an idiot, and here's why. I welcome your feedback. I would welcome that feedback too, Josh. Yeah, it's gonna be Youper Brew on the YouTube. Like, Josh, you are an idiot. I was on the show with you. I know. The lid though with the PRV, absolutely. If you prefer the pull tab, Nate, I understand, because that makes it easier. My whole life has been about making it easier on myself, and instead of even using a screwdriver on the gas post or something to be able to push it down to relieve that pressure, I like being able to just with the pull tab. It's convenient. Lids, in the bigger picture of stuff, friends, lids are very affordable. And I will throw out my hat. I know Lorena doesn't use them, but I'm going to say with an asterisk, she doesn't use them yet. I'm going to get you so my product of the year, I was saving this for next week, and I'll probably elaborate on it next week. My product of the year is from Homebrewer Lab. It's called the Float It 2.0. It is the best filtered floating dip tube I've ever used in my life, and I promise it's the best. I'm going to send you one. I'm going to talk to my buddy Trong. I'm going to send you one. Use it whenever you want. You don't have to use it quick. You don't got to give me quick feedback. I promise you it'll make you a believer of using them, especially if you're just using it for transferring. You'll find it will get the most out of your fermentation keg without bringing any of the stuff up. I mean, you'll be able to. Sounds great. Oh, dude, it is phenomenal, and it really does. It'll suck it dry, and you won't even you know. I'm assuming when you're doing the transferring, it's done because you're starting to see a little bit of stuff come up along with the noise.
That's part of it, but when you take cold beer into a warmer keg, there's actually a line as it fills, but you can't see if there's any foaming. So I'm a pretty lazy home brewer. Lazy's not the right word.
Efficient.
Oh, yes, it is. I want to make it easy too. I've only got maybe 25 years of my life left. I'm probably not going to spend it weighing kegs,
you and me both have the same lifespan expectation. Oh my God. I tell my wife all the time, babe, I've got 20 Christmases left and we got to make these count. My family history. Look how red my face is. That's hypertension, baby. That's where are my blood pressure meds? I got to stop chewing nicotine gum. I need my blood pressure meds. Anyway, digress quick when Todd's not here to rein me in.
I know we miss Todd.
We miss Todd. The second part of his question is where I really do think your expertise will shine, because you have such a good experience with variety of hops, when to use the hops in a brew, what kind of hops work best in a brew. Have you ever stumbled or been given wild hops, and what would you even know to do with them? I don't know how you test alpha acid. I don't even know how you would test it. So what would you do in Nate's case, finding wild hops?
Well, first of all, do what he did. Maybe take my hands, rub them together, get a really good sniff, a good smell. If it's dank, that's awesome. If it's citrusy, floral. Skunky makes me think it may not be the world's best tasting hops, but I'd still try it. What I would probably do is, if you have Budweiser on hand, Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light, some kind of beer, take a few hops, dry hop that finished beer. Now it's going to oxidize sitting out and whatever. Put it in the fridge, taste it. If you taste it and go, ooh, that's skunky, forget it, right? But if you taste and you go, this is interesting. After that, since there really is no way at home to test the alpha acids, use it for dry hopping, late hopping, aroma hops. So if you're doing, say, a lighter beer, say a cream ale or something, try it at 5 minutes into the boil, just like you would other dry hops. By dry hops, I mean dried hops, not pellet, not fresh. And give that a try. I would definitely try a very small batch the first time, as little as 1 gallon or 3 gallons. But I definitely would try it in a beer first, to make sure, because 5 years is 5 gallons of skunky beer. It's just not worth it.
You're gonna be sad dumping it out. You're gonna be pretty sad.
Yeah.
Like you said, we've recommended that before too. A neutral beer is what you're going for in the tasting, and something like Budweiser is, well, first off, I love when people always dog on it as if no one's drinking it. Like Budweiser's garbage. Look, I don't like it, but they're doing something right. They're selling gazillions of it. Gazillions of gallons of Budweiser are being sold, and tens of Josh's Kolsch are being consumed, not even sold. No one even wants to pay me for it. But a neutral beer that you can dry hop it in is going to give you the properties, the characteristics of that hop in the best way, most applicable way of what you're doing. How is a beer going to taste with this hop? Have you, even if it's hops you've intended to receive or purchase or whatever, have you ever received skunky hops and had to throw them out because it's not worth trying in a batch, because you realize that batch will not end up how you want?
Not skunky, but there's been a couple of commercial things that have been sent to me that did not have the world's best reputation, although some people love them. And I've cut the bag open and went, smells like onions.
Oh.
Yes, not skunky, but I'm like, let me look at the manufacturer and see if that's a noted flavor. And and some of those hops, like I'll give you an example, Summit hops. That can be oniony later in the boil, but if you use it for bittering, it really isn't. But who wants to test that out on 5 gallons of beer?
No,
just to see.
No.
So if it smells skunky versus dank or interesting, if you're actually going to label it skunky, I would anticipate some skunky beer. So I would do that little tiny sample dry hop first and see if you like it.
What if you're going for a Corona sitting in the sun kind of beer? Then there you go. That Nate, that's the beer. A Corona Especial that has been in the clear bottle sitting in the sun for a week. You could replicate it. We'll do a clone recipe for the Chub Club. It'll be in the brewer's
There's not enough line in the world for that
one. The gym I train at, this was probably a decade ago, they found a full bottle of it out in the yard. And one of the guys was like, "You dare me to drink it?" I go, "Absolutely, I dare you to drink it." And it was the skunkiest smell when he opened it. He was like, And be fair, it's not a bad beer when it's good, but the clear bottles, what a mess up. Not a very smart thought. Do you have a least favorite hop? Longtime listeners of the show might know your least favorite not hop. Oh my gosh, what am I thinking of? It is hops. I do know your least favorite hops. Pardon me.
You do.
It's got to be Fuggles. It's got to be Fuggles.
Fuggles is one, but there's one that I have put over Fuggles because Fuggles just tastes like dirt.
How dare you?
It's dirt. I know you call it earthy. I'm not stupid. I know what that means. It means dirty.
I do say
but yeah, you cannot. Oh,
I've never used it.
It's like I read something a long time ago. Maybe this is what colored it, but it was like aroma of green pepper and peach. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
It is just awful, 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 awful. It's like, when you get an Italian sausage sandwich and they make that onion and pepper chopping, cannot.
Oh, hey, all right. I know what I'm pairing with my grilling this summer. Yeah, I'll say it's not. I'm probably exaggerating a little, but this last couple of years, Sterling has been my least favorite hop. Too peppery. What? It's too peppery. Too peppery. Todd,
it's supposed to be kind of clean, but I can see the
Todd used it in a Pilsner. And I called it the peppery Pilsner. His friends all loved it. He loved it. They're like, "You're just stupid." I go, "Yeah, but that's not mutually exclusive." Like, you can't call, that doesn't hurt me anymore, guys. You can call me this stuff, but that doesn't change my palate. But funny enough, last year's Kolsch Cup winner used Sterling, not exclusively, but they did, because I guess Sterling is a noble hop. They weren't outside of the Rheinheitsgebot, right, when they used Sterling. Right. But I was like, how dare they? How dare they use Sterling? I think they were trolling me, but they won. They won. So there's something.
And what did you think of that beer, though?
It was wonderful. It was, but I have to go back and listen to the interview. I don't think Sterling. I think Sterling might have been part of the 30-minute add-on addition.
Okay,
I don't,
so it was nice noble flavor out of it then.
Right. I don't think it was the full boil, and I don't think it was for aroma. So, but I think that if you're going to use Sterling, maybe that's when I appreciate it most. Is like a little bit of the boil, or I mean the mid part of the boil. Like I don't want that aroma. I don't want that peppery up my nose. But Nate, would you say, wrapping up Nate's question, that I guess it can be exciting with wild hops, but also be cautious before using it in a full batch, testing it with a neutral beer, the hand thing and that. And I'd love to see comments below if y'all disagree with this, but I think skunky is not the one most people are going for. And maybe just do your homework on, or do your testing diligently before using it in any batch of any size, because that would be a bummer if you then taste and like, oh geez, dumping that is a waste of time and money. And Lord knows brewing is not affordable. It is expensive. Unless, of course, you go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and join a recipe receiving tier of the Trop Club. That was my infomercial voice, if you haven't.
It was very good.
Thank you so much. So, Nate, thank you so much for submitting the question.
Thank you, Nate.
Moving on to question number 2. And a reminder, friends, when you call the hotline, 325-305-6107, and I use your voicemail on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card. If you text that same hotline or email joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com, you still get yourself a $15 gift card. Like our second question, our buddy John texted me and he wrote, "I've been listening long enough to know that Todd cleans his lines way more than most people. Does Todd also replace stuff like O-rings that frequently?" And then a day later, he wrote back, "Hey, follow up for you, Josh. Ask Todd or James," they're not here, "ask Todd or James if there are certain beer styles they keg that leave enough behind that makes them want to swap out their O-rings. I doubt Kolsch leaves much behind, so you're good. LOL. Cheers, my brother." John, thank you, my brother. Todd's not here, but let's talk the conceptual part of this in regards to cleaning. First off, we've never talked about this, Lorena. How often are you cleaning your lines of your kegerator?
Not as often as Todd.
No, nobody does. It's ridiculous. Nobody doing two every other week. Let's be real.
No. And I mean, I know bars have a cleaning schedule and all this with their lines, and they're pouring a lot of beer. And it depends too on what I got going on. If I had a keg on tap for 12 days and it's an IPA, and I've got a different IPA coming on, I'll flush the lines. I don't clean them. But if I am, looking at the lines going, but I have to tell you, line is cheap enough that I'm just as likely to just change the dang lines, because I put 12 to 15 feet of 3/16 line on each tap. I usually serve at 12 to 13 PSIs, which is nice long lines, no foam. I don't know, I think when I ordered from Right Brew one time, because it's fairly local to me, I want to say it was $1.47 for the line. You know,
Oh yeah.
I could buy the cleaner, and then see when you clean, of course, then you have to flush with clear water, and then you can sand it. Just buy the new line. So again, this goes back to I'm a lazy home brewer. Just easy. But if you are going to clean your lines, a good time to do it would be changing beer styles. As he mentioned, you go from a Kolsch to a Kolsch. Yeah, you should probably clean them, but
Get that taste out of that line.
And the same thing with the O-rings. O-rings, they're cheap. And if you clean them and put some keg lube on them, they'll last a long time, but they're cheap enough that when in doubt, throw it out kind of thing. So I do change those out, but more when they're stiff rather than holding flavor. They'll get stiff and just not sealing as well. The only thing I personally have ever noticed that left a flavor and a scent, even in the keg, which is stainless, so that's crazy. But root beer,
you took my thunder. I was just about to say root beer lasts forever.
Yeah, it's like better than a wedding ring, because root beer is forever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. A stainless keg, you can put PBW in it and you can clean it. Then you can do an acid rinse and then you can repass it and you put something in there. It tastes like root beer.
Isn't it wild? How root beer permeates, like you said, forever? It is more reliable than a wedding ring, especially like a Jennifer Lopez wedding or something. Yeah, it is way more. It is wild how so. I hope Todd and James aren't watching this. They might be. When they were out of town, so they went out of the country to the Brow. I didn't go. I did. It was my choice to not go. I did get the invite, but I'm still bitter. They were frolicking around Europe, having the time of their life. Ooh, look at us frolicking.
Here's another beer.
There's another beer. Oh, we're working. Da-da-da-da-da. They that's actually my Todd voice is I'm frolicking around Europe. They while they were gone, one of the
loves that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Me Todd. Me boss man. He while they were
don't do me later.
No, don't worry. I won't. Okay. They while they were gone, our shipping lead, Tammy, super nice lady. We're a skeleton crew, so I get to know these people. And they, I engage with the commoners from time to time.
Oh,
and
good for you.
So I'm there helping orders. And she was talking about how much she loves root beer. And how, we have this kegerator in the office. How come we can never have root beer? And I didn't think things through. I mean, I did the root beer. It was well received. People like it. But I was like, oh no, not just that keg that I used, that line I used, that faucet I used. Oh no, it's all, I'm going to be the one to have to replace it if anyone wises up to the fact of who made the root beer, which of course is going to come back to me. We're like a 8-person company. They're going to throw me under the bus when Todd's like, wait a second, this tap has root. Who the heck made root beer? It'll be Josh. It was Josh. But as I was tapping, I was filling a growler for her. That's when it hit me. I was like, oh no, what have I done? I mean, it's good if I'll say this because I don't want to discourage people from making root beer. We actually sell at kegconnection.com a ton of the extract. A lot of people are making soda at home. A lot more people, in my anecdotal observation, are not just doing soda at home. They're doing sparkling water at home.
Absolutely.
Most of the kits we're selling are fizz kits, and it has nothing to do with beer. You could use it for beer, but the premise is these Topo Chico. I don't know if I have a kit in here. We sell the minerals. Did we ever? I need to send you that with the float it. I don't know if we got you. Did you take any with you when you came to the office?
Maybe.
You did, right?
If I say yes, do I not get more?
No, you get more. You liked it, right?
Yes.
Aren't they incredible?
I love it.
They're incredible. Yeah. When I send you a float it, I'll send you another couple. It's so easy, and we're selling a ton of them with these fizz kits because I don't know. I don't want to again be a Debbie Downer. People aren't drinking beer; they're not brewing beer. But seltzer is on the rise. People like it, and soda streams are stupid, and they're expensive, and they're proprietary, and it's dumb. Why do that? Especially if you have the space, get a corny keg, with 3 gallon, 2.5, or 5 gallon, I recommend. It's so easy to make this with this mineral pack. I love it. But I don't even know where I was going with that. Except go to kegconnection.com and use promo code HHH and get yourself a discount. But swapping out the O-rings and all that, like you said, I would agree. After styles is a great time. Is there a beer style that you can think of off the top of your head? But that's obviously not root beer and not kombucha, but an actual beer style where I can't think of one that permeates to a point that it's present in the next brew of that keg.
I can't either. I guess it's possible, but really the O-rings don't actually even touch your beer.
Right.
So, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I suppose it's possible.
Yeah. No, and most of the time a good rinse. I mean, I use Brew Clean every time I'm cleaning a keg. I don't just rinse it. And then the sanitizer, most of the time that does everything I need it to do. Sodas in our experience with kegs have always been what leaves a smell behind or a taste behind. Sprite, not nearly as offensive as the root beer in regards to how long it sits around, but I can open a keg and sometimes they have the labels on the outside, so that's cheating, but I can open a keg and be like, that had root beer in it for sure. Or, that had Sprite and or 7 Up.
That had Coke.
Yep. It's very obvious. Soda I don't know if it's the sugars. I have no idea what it is, but
I don't know if it's that or if it's because it's so much more acidic than beer.
Oh,
I mean, beer's acid anyway, but soda's like 3 point something.
Yeah, no,
you're 3.2.
That's got to be it.
3.1. Could that be it? It doesn't seem to etch the stainless, so maybe not. But there's something in that you can smell the soda for a long time. So if you do have a keg for soda. Not sparkling water, there's no problem with that. But maybe if you put a lot of lime in your sparkling water or something and the acidity is higher, I would say that just keep 1 keg or 2 kegs for your soda, and keep others then for your beer.
One person recently reached out and asked me how long they need to change their lines on these fizz kits, which is, and the whole idea was they're just using it for water. And I was like, that's the beautiful part. Until you actually see deterioration, which is going to be a long time if you're only doing water. I was like, there's a good chance you're not going to have to change them out ever. Right. You're going to stop using the kit and it'll sit in the garage or whatever. And then you might come back to mold or something and have to change it. But if you're using that thing for just water, dude, you're set for life. Like that kit, the keg too. Like once you first initially clean it and get it done, you don't got to sanitize it for water. You can, if you need to. And when you're doing the mix for the Topo Chico, if you're using that sparkling water pack, it's hot enough. What I'm getting at is, guys, go buy a fizz kit. Support a brother. Help me out here. Christmas time's coming up, okay? And but the fizz kits, doing water, you don't got to worry about it. But yeah, it is a case-by-case thing in regards to changing out lines or cleaning them or whatever. And I'm on Team Lorena when it comes to line is cheap. Line, even without my work discount, which is retail plus 15%. That's Todd's employee discount.
I love it.
Yeah, even without the friends and family deal, it is dirt cheap. It is dirt cheap. I am with you. Team Lazy. That's who's running the show today.
Team Lazy. We're going to get t-shirts.
And John, join Team Lazy with us. And a final reminder, thank you for submitting that question. A final reminder. If you text it into like John did to 325-305-6107, it gets you a $15 gift card when I use the question. But even better, call the hotline, leave a voicemail. If it's a question, I'll probably take it because I'm desperate. And get yourself a $25 gift card like our third and our final question for this week. It's our buddy David from Virginia.
Josh, the greatest podcast host of beer talk in the world. Question for you. I've been having the trouble with metallic taste in my beer. I just finished watching your podcast from about a year ago about metallic taste in keg, and I'm having the same issues that this guy was having. I've had to throw out the last 2 batches of beer in actually 2 different kegs, and I'm wondering, do I need to passivate the kegs? I just don't know where to go. If there's any help you could give me, I would appreciate it. Maybe Todd and James know the answer. All right, thank you, and I appreciate it.
Well, David, Todd and James have abandoned you, but the real expert, Lorena Evans, is here to help out. My first thought when he said it could, there's a lot of factors, right, that can contribute
There's
to
a
metallic.
lot. Yes.
There's a lot, and we'll go down that list. But when he said that it was multiple kegs, that makes me think it's not the hardware for the packaging, that it might be the brewing process or likely the fermentation process. But I want your input, because when I last got metallic taste, it was oxidation. And I know cardboard is the more common, but I splashed an ESB my dad and I did 5 years ago, and it was more metallic than cardboard, and it really messed it up. And time didn't heal it. It never got out of that batch. I was stupid. I was making an Instagram post and being like, narcissistic, like, oh, everyone wants to see what I'm doing. Look, I'm transferring beer. It was open transfer, and I was splashing. Live and learn. But what do you think with David is going on? And then we can talk about stuff like passivating kegs, which, spoiler, I don't think he needs to. I doubt that. But
no, especially since he has it in 2 different kegs. And I don't really know of anybody that's ever had to repassivate a keg. But the first thing that came to my mind, very similar story to yours, Josh. I had an ESB, and it tasted like a penny. And I couldn't figure it out. Well, it was oxidation of those crushed grains. And then, of course, I had to kind of look that up, and I know there's some confirmation bias there, because I think it's this, so you can find all the data to prove it's that.
Oh yeah.
But it's true. Poorly stored malt, and for some reason, the more highly kilned a malt is, the more likely it is to exhibit metallic when it is oxidized. So an ESB, a stout, a dark mild, anything that you're using the darker malt. And there is a very long, wonderful chemical explanation for this. I am not a chemist, and I'm not a plagiarist. I will just tell you the synopsis is that oxidation, not necessarily post-fermentation, it could be the malt. It could be the crushed grain that sat in your basement for 2 weeks. It could be some moisture that really enhanced that ability to oxidize. That probably is the case, since he's only had it twice in 2 different kegs. It sounds like there are other things in the process. Number one is water. I live up north in a place called Iron River, Michigan, in a county called Iron County. So guess what's in our water?
Sodium?
Yeah, got it. Heavy metals. Because let's face it, metallic often comes from metal. There could be other things in the process. Maybe there is something in the brewery itself. Is there some copper that is touching the wort post-boil, during fermentation? Is there, some keg that you're using to boil in, or some vessel that needs passivation? So that's the second thing. That came to my mind. Water. Well, that's 3. Water, oxidation, and in metal in the process. So other than that, I can't really think of a lot. I don't know that oxidation, like in an IPA, will present as metallic rather than cardboard or steel. It's more steel paper to me. But I suppose it's possible if it's improperly stored malt before the mash. So it could be before the mash that you have this malt that is improperly stored or oxidized when you get it, especially if it's crushed, or after, if you splash like heck when you're transferring, especially a dark beer, and then serve it, it may be metallic. I can't really think of anything else. Did you have some others, Josh?
Well, I was going to ask your opinion, because I've heard, and when I say I've heard, sometimes my wife says I listen, or I hear, but I don't listen. See, I can't even get that right. I don't know what she said, but it's something like, you don't listen to me, sir. And
or something like that.
It's something like that. Like, you hear me, but you're not listening. Oh, as she has the suitcase and the kids, and she's getting in the van, and they're going to my mother's house. I've heard, or at least I've made this up in my brain, that stressing the yeast can lead to metallic off flavors. And I don't know if, I don't remember if it was stressing it on the high end or stressing it on the low end or stressing it with pressure. I just remember hearing, stressing yeast can lead to that. Have you never heard that? Am I making that up?
No, I can't say that I actually heard it except anecdotally. We always hear about you get esters if you stress the yeast, and you get, too much clove, too many phenols if you stress the yeast. Is it possible? Certainly. I mean, yeast are living creatures and can exhibit all kinds of flaws or qualities. So that is possible too. I would assume in the cases of brewing, if anybody's been brewing for a while, however, they're going to know to pitch the proper amount of yeast at the proper temperature. That's an assumption. But interestingly, David, was it David?
Correct. Yeah.
He did not say what style of beer it was or like what. So we don't know if it was a barley wine where he should have pitched 4 packages of yeast versus a mild where half a package is just fine. So, anything is really possible at this point, though, just based on what he said. I would lean towards the oxidation of the malt.
I like that. And that's an angle I'm not confident any of me, James or Todd would have come up with because we haven't experienced that before. Sometimes it takes us experiencing something personally before it gets in our wheelhouse of knowledge. Well,
unfortunately, I did experience it personally, probably like my third keg. And I kind of went through this, like what, and when you're a new kegger, you're not kind of cavalier about cleaning the lines and cleaning your, I know people now that are like, I ran some hot water through it, it's fine. But when you first get your keg, just like, I'm going to sanitize it one more time just in case, so I would think that his kegs are well taken care of and his brewing system is. But those are the things really to really kind of focus on and look at.
Yeah, and to just barely touch on it, because even if you thought passivating was it, we don't have the time to talk about the process, and it's a difficult thing. But it is so far down my list of culprits in this scenario. I cannot imagine he would need to repassivate these kegs.
Yeah. The only consideration I have is if you are boiling in an aluminum vessel. And you do not have it seasoned, I guess that could be a factor. Or again, like a copper wort chiller that has green on it, so you wouldn't have to repassivate. Stainless it really lasts forever for us on a homebrew level. But look, if you're boiling in aluminum, make sure that it is well seasoned, where you boil some water and you get a little bit of that black coating on it.
And this has nothing to do with this question, but the only time stainless I've seen fail, and I'm using air quotes for audio listeners, which is like 99% of our audience, when people get scratches deep enough for buggies to live in, that's when I'm like, no, I gotta replace this, because that's the only time stainless will fail you, is if it has any place to harbor buggies. And then that becomes the kombucha kettle or something, or the sour kettle, right? It becomes or the fermenter more likely for people, because people we had a person, Todd recommended, he always has recommended these certain kind of pads for cleaning stainless, but a listener, I don't know, a year or two ago bought like the Scotch, like the kind of pads that would actually scratch it. Totally messed up his little stainless brew bucket thing. It was bad. It was bad. He's like, I thought I got the right ones. I was like, no, I put the link in the show notes to get the right ones. No!
Get the right ones. The other thought I had as you were saying that too is if anybody puts bleach in their stainless, don't do that.
No, why would they?
Cleaning it if you don't know. So we should just emphasize that too. When you clean your stainless and you sanitize, no bleach.
Yeah, I've never even considered to say that. I've always used our industry's sanitizers, or for our I'm lying. I don't run sanitizer at all through the all-in-one. I mean, it temperature.
You don't need to.
Yeah, I'm getting it to temperatures that are sanitizing it. It's but if I can use water for my sanitation purposes, or the boil, getting the liquid there is what I want to do. I don't want to run chemicals through my all-in-one. And like I said, I can't think of it. I run cleaner through it, and then I have to rinse it and all that. but never sanitize like that. But anyway, if you are watching at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, leave a comment below on what you think of any of the questions. But passivating kegs, is that something you think needs to be done, or what else could be going on? Getting that metallic taste in multiple kegs. Remember, guys, not just the one, it's in multiple. And I think, Lorena, it might be safe to assume it's multiple batches. It probably wasn't the same batch.
It sounds like 2 different batches at minimum.
Yeah. So let us know what you think there, and or call it into the hotline and get yourself a $25 gift card if I use your feedback or question. Lorena, that's all I have for this week.
Thank you.
No. Thank you for doing it, for being willing. I made a note on my phone to get you out some more Topo Chico and one of Tron's floateds. I'm gonna cover the bill for that. And by I mean Homebrew Happy Hour. And by Homebrew Happy Hour, I mean Todd Burns Incorporated. So we're gonna get that out to you. You're in Florida for a while, so I can ship it to that address, right? So
yeah, sure.
It's 555-2. No, tell him. Todd likes to try to dox my cell phone on the show because he gives out his personal phone number on this podcast. Tens of people know his phone number now.
I'm going to have to listen to the podcast more closely because I think he's blocked me. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm always like, Todd, what are you going to do when one of the 18 people who listen might call you? No. Dozens watch, tens are entertained. But anyways, Lorena, thank you. No, thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate you, and talk to you later. And that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you could go to homebrewhappyhour.com. You could email joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com. But even better, call it in. Be my best friend, because you're going to leave a voicemail to 325-305-6107 and get yourself that $25 gift card. Thank you to our show sponsors like Muntins Malt, premium grains for a better brew day. If you aren't already using Muntins, give them a try by joining the Trub Club at a recipe receiving level. For the best hops available online, give our friends at hopsdirect.com a visit and pick up what you need for your next brew day. Also, get a pack of Imperial yeast along with premium recipes from us when you join the Trub Club. Again, go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of the absent Todd Burns, the incredibly tall James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.